You know what? Let's have Chuck do it today. Come on, Chuck. Do your best Daniel impression.
Not a strong start, where we talk about movies that I don't like because I'm a movie snob and I redub things in ADR. And my name is Daniel, and I watch foreign films all the time. Thank you.
I do. I do watch foreign films. That's it.
Well, he's Chuck. He said you do it, not Dan.
Yeah,
I was doing it. No, he said like as me.
I didn't say that. I said you do it. Go ahead.
I'm Dan.
No, you don't need me. You just do it.
I already did it, dude. All
right. So, anyways, so what's going to happen on this week's episode, Charles?
We are going to discuss movie ratings.
Okay.
And how we differ in our ratings of movies and the scales that we use.
Perfect. And we will also
snobs
prove...
and unsnobs.
Yes. And we will also prove why mine is correct and Charles is wrong.
is Jose's the same? Hey, why do you switch off with Charles and Chuck? What happened? What's because I know I do Dan and Daniel. Yeah. I do Daniel when I'm maybe kind of trying to annoy you, but
no. Oh no, Daniel doesn't annoy me at all. I usually go by Daniel. So okay.
No, but that's what I do when I'm like.
I use Charles for comedic purposes. So okay, Charles. So when you see me go high up, I'm trying to do a joke that usually gives that a little oomph at the end of that joke. Just a little nipple twist. A little bit of that nipple twist.
Yeah. Same. Okay, Daniel. Okay.
Funny thing is that for years he's been Charles. That's what I call him, is Charles. Yeah. I just started calling him Chuck when we started this podcast because you were referring to him as Chuck. And I'm like, all right, I'll call him Chuck so there's no confusion. That's the only reason I started calling him Chuck, because he was always Charles.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hurt some feelings right now, but I think people who are close to me, friends and family, call me Chuck. People who really are a little outside of that will call me Charles. But they got to figure that out for themselves, though. Like, I'm not going to be like, hey, call me Chuck. Like, we're past that. Like, you need to figure that out on your own. So
no, Chuck still feels weird.
Yeah, but you're still doing it, though, because you're my friend.
He's doing it for podcast purposes, for branding.
It's like when you put stuff like sexually, like in your butthole, it feels weird, but you like it, right?
It's for continuity.
You're
Let's give a rating system of that.
It still feels weird, but I like it.
How many butt spasms? That's the new rating system.
That's the new rating
system. Say? That's the new rating
system.
Wait,
what was it? Have you guys ever seen MythiQuest?
Yes. Oh yeah. You knew. Yeah.
Great show.
Jose, go.
Yeah. In there, the streamer who rates all the games, he rates them by buttholes. So 5 buttholes is like great. 2 buttholes is you got to do better.
And if it's not good at all, do they do like a butt gag? You know how you gag yourself to throw, but you do a butt gag, right? Like, oh.
Isn't that a good thing, though?
That's if it's bad. You butt
like groundhogging?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the greatest opening we've ever had to a podcast episode. Also, we're not going to pass for an ad. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
If the other one didn't make it, this one's not making it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
we just have a cult following, dude. We're fine,
man. So let's get into this week's episode where we talk about, as we said, the rating system, but what qualifies it? What do we classify it? And then once we establish how we rank it, let's get into some movies that we want to rank and compare them and see who's wrong, who's right, who's closer to the average, and who bites their lip when they stare at me. Charles, Chuck. See, if I would have said Chuck, no, Charles, funnier. Also,
I was actually looking at Jose and biting my lip, just so we're clear. But
come on, Chucky.
That's super close. That's when you're really, really close to me. You call me Chucky. That's
Chucky. Does anybody call you Chucky?
That's like whispering your ear close.
Yeah, that's like you're in my personal space.
That's one knuckle in to your butthole.
That's one knuckle in and a butthole close. Like, I shouldn't say that. My niece actually calls me that, so let's scratch that one. So.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so let's not go there.
All right, let's move on to the next episode. That's our
so
cue.
we're gonna actually do a current event this episode. I'm not gonna.
Oh, are you? Are you?
Do you have it now? So Jose actually had
I
Mr.
had it
One
last
Piece.
week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jose kind of prematurely shot his wad, and we had a bit of a mess on our hands after that. But
It was a little wet and loose.
yeah, kind of like
It's a
Jose's
lot of
butthole.
cleanup.
All right, Jose, what do you got?
So I actually recently found out that the 95-year copyright for Winnie the Pooh expired. So it's public domain now. So anyone
Ooh.
can do a Winnie the Pooh property.
Mm.
So someone has gone ahead actually and has made a Winnie the Pooh horror movie called Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey or Honey and Blood or
Yeah.
something. It's a live action. I don't know when it comes out. I'm waiting for more. There's no trailers. There's just stills of some creepy Winnie the
Yeah.
Pooh that looks like he came out of someone's nightmare, stalking some girl in a jacuzzi and writing in blood like "Get Out" or something like that. But I'm probably gonna check it out. But I thought it was interesting that now we're probably gonna start seeing some different versions of Winnie the Pooh.
Can we do one as like Latinos? Can we do one
Public
called Winnie?
domain.
Can we do Winnie the Puto?
Ed Weenie? Ed Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. The rest of this episode should just be about Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the
Come
Puto.
up with the story. Oh man, Christopher Robin though, he's going after him on that one. Yeah. I did see some of the stills, man. It looks creepy. Is that real? Like they're really filming a movie? I thought it was just like a joke of something that's going viral. I don't know. It's a real movie.
It looked
I
like it to
believe
me,
it. I
yeah.
believe it's real. It was reported by multiple sources. So I was like, okay, this must be real.
Interesting. We could do something with this. Tie it into the
Mhm.
podcast. Because now that's public domain. I mean, we can't use his likeliness though, right? Like we can't use images of the stuff. We can only use the character name, property.
Well, the pictures look like him a little bit, right? Kind of. I mean, there's a likeness.
Yeah.
But they created their own though. Like they didn't steal it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I get what
I
you're
mean,
saying. I get what you're saying.
I'm
yeah.
sure you can't do an exact replica of like Disney's version of like Winnie the Pooh, but yeah, I'm sure you can use a similarity and the name and all of that aspect.
So are you saying that Winnie the Pooh is now our new mascot for Nas?
Yeah,
not
but
No.
it's Winnie the Puto though.
Winnie the Pooh.
Pooh.
Man. I
Who's-
think I see our first merchandise coming out soon.
I think so too. We just got our first shirt.
All right, who's designing it?
Dan.
It's always me, man.
Not it.
Hey, that's
Charles
what you
always-
get for being artistic.
I know, man. He's always volunteering me as tribute every time, every damn time. So let's get into the rating system because we're falling behind here. So what kind of rating system do you guys use? Period. So we'll start off with you, Jose. What's your rating system?
I use a 1 to 10. 1 to
Okay.
10 rating. I feel that it gives me enough flexibility and there's enough range to cover all types of movies. I feel like the shorter the range is, the more movies you get grouped together. They probably don't belong together.
Okay. Now, do you use like half points? So like, do you use like 5.5?
Yeah, but that's the most. It's half points. I don't.
Okay.
You
You don't do the
get-
5.3.
I don't do the tenths.
You don't do like pi, like 3.1489673921458. I think I'm dead. That's as far as I go.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
if that's
You went
accurate.
about 4
It's not.
digits longer than I can.
You start naming off. You just started
Yeah.
looking up and just saying your phone number.
I was like 624-505.
I know. Okay, so you have your system there, and it works for you. Any issues or anything with your rating system?
Yeah, it's flawed. Go ahead.
No problem. I feel, again, like I said, it gives me enough range that I can work pretty much any type of movie into it.
Okay. So how about you, Charles?
I use letter grades.
Okay.
A through F. Might even
What-
get
why-
an
why letter
might even
grades?
get an incomplete in there if it's really bad. Because for the same reason Jose said, I feel like I get a lot of range. You know, where a movie where he said is like a 9 and an 8, it seems like they're close, but correct me if I'm wrong, they're a little bit further apart than you probably think they are. Because if I look at it as like a percentage, which it's not, 80 and 90, there's like 10 points in between there. Where like I would be like, oh, that movie's like an A- or a B+. Those movies are pretty close together. where like a 10 and a 9 or an 8 and a 7, they seem a little further, but the numbers are right next to each other that you might be like, oh, that movie's an 8. Oh, that's a 7. Pretty close to an 8. That's pretty good. But like, no, I said it was a fucking 7. That's maybe not great or not as good as an 8. You look confused. I'm also confused.
Wait, but
keep up, Jose. Keep up.
If you're using letter grades, technically those are based off of percentages too when you use letter grades. So like an A minus usually is about a 90, you know, a B minus is about an 80. So technically those are based off of percentages also.
Right, but a B minus and an A minus are like 10 points apart, right?
Yes.
Okay, but in between a B minus and an A minus is a B and a B plus. For you, there's only one number that separates those, and that's a lot of movie that cannot be good or be good.
There's a half
to squash it to like 7 and
8.5.
Yeah, you forgot the 0.5.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so
that's only one.
I also have the number system where I use like Jose does the 1 point, the 1 through 10, and I use the half points. But here's where I differentiate with you guys on it, because Jose sees it as like the same way like a letter grade, right? So you think an A plus is a 10, a 9.5 is an A, right? A 9 is an A minus. So you guys see that as the same equivalence. To me, I don't, because otherwise the lowest you can really get is an F, which is a 5. So you can't really go lower than that. But to me, I'll rank movies 4.5. I'll go 3.0. There's no really letter grade for that. That's why to me, if I say a movie's like a 9.0, to me, that's more like an A than it is just an A minus. If I had to try to do the two, you see what I'm saying? I feel like with the 1 through 10, I get more range to be able to rate movies, because I can give a movie like a 6. Now, it can have flaws to it. It can be, technically, it can have a lot of issues with it, but it can have a high rewatchability factor to me. So I can go back and rewatch it. So to me, a 6 doesn't mean the movie's crap. It just means it has obvious flaws, but it could be fun enough that I can still go back and watch and rewatch it. But in your system, Charles, it'd be a D minus, right? So
yeah, that would be
it would be shit to you. So to you, it'd be a bad movie. To me, a D minus would be more like a 3. If a movie was ranked like a 3.0, that'd be like, I don't even want to go back and watch that at all. Like, I'm good. I don't watch 3.
Yeah, once you get like, I guess like if you said like a 5, like what's a 5 to? Not a movie specifically, but what's your grading system for a 5? Like, you could maybe rewatch it again, or it was okay, or
for me, if I rank it as a 5, it means it's not that enjoyable and it wasn't made that well, but it was okay. It wasn't like complete like awful. Like, for instance, I think it was like Justice League. I don't know. I think I gave it like a 5.5, I want to say, something like that. So
Zack Snyder or the other one?
The other one. The
Whedon?
Josh Whedon one. So it'd be more like that one, because it just wasn't that good. But I've seen movies that like damn, I wish I had examples right now to not. Well, we do have a movie generator that we can bring up and kind of go into it, but I think if you just do letter grades, that's where I think you run into the issue, is because there could be movies that you can have that's like an A and an A minus and an A plus, but they're so crunched that you're going to have a lot of that. Whereas I can consider a 10, a 9.5, a 9 and an 8.5. I can still kind of consider that in the 8 range. I mean, in the A range a little bit of like, it's technically made well, but there's different variances of it. So there could be a movie that's technically made very well, but maybe doesn't have a high rewatchability factor. So I can take some points off, but it's still like a higher point, if that makes sense.
I get it. No, it doesn't. But I also think that, when the movie's like an F, to me, it's an F. Like, that's a 5 and below. Like, you fucking failed.
But there is no below for you, right?
No, because it's just a fucking, it's a fail. You get like a fucking F plus maybe, but like a fail is a fail. How's that movie? Would you give it? A fucking F? And to me, that's between a 1 and like a fucking 4 or something, right? Maybe a 5, maybe. But it's just different. Like, I don't think that, and that's why we have this discrepancy, is because they don't level up exactly our systems. They don't. They're completely different. We can't compare. We can just contrast. We can't really do it, because like a 5, you're like, that's cool. A 5 to me, technically, if I were to transfer it over to a letter grade, is an F. But I don't see it that way. Like, I wouldn't give a movie that I thought was a 5 an F. Like, if I thought it was a 5, that's probably like a D. It's just
and
different.
then mine is like yours. When I had spoken about comparing it to the letter grade, was trying to find a equivalent to Chuck's rating,
Yeah.
but it's
His
not like
antiquated rating.
yeah,
Spell
basically.
it. Spell that. Yeah.
I can spell it, motherfucker. Keep going.
Go.
Keep going.
Antiquated. No, but the way I look at mine is basically the 1 through 10. I can split it into 3 tiers and then kind of move along those tiers. So like 8 to 10, that's like that's good to like great. So an 8 is like, okay, that was good. 9 is like great. 10 is like unbelievable.
Yeah.
The 5 to 7, that's like my mediocre range, which is like, oh, maybe there was potential here. There was parts that I liked. There was also quite a bit of flaws. I might rewatch, I might not. Those are that. And then the 1 through 4, those are just different levels of bad. You know, because there are some bad movies. It was like, these little redeeming factors that could have been at least mediocre, but you know, it failed in here. And then you have all the ones that are like horrible. Like, if I had to give an example, so a good in that 8 to 10 would be like, for recent movies, The Batman. That's in that 8 to 10 range for me. The 5 to 7, a mediocre movie. The recent one, Uncharted. I would put that within the mediocre grouping. And then for like the bad grouping, that 1 through 4, Morbius would be in like that group.
Have you seen it? Have you seen Morbius?
I did, and that's why I could definitely put it in that group. I needed to see the train wreck. You guys ever have those movies? It was like, I know that's going to be terrible. Everyone told me it's terrible, but I need to experience that pain myself.
Yeah,
that was Morbius.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, like if a movie falls into 5, it means I think I'm a little more harsher on that part, because like if a 5, like 5.5, I don't give it rewatchability factor usually. It means it's really not that good. If something's within the 5 or 5.5, for me, it means they probably did something good, either, you know, some good casting, but it wasn't necessarily good acting, or not a good script, not good direction. The story went bad. It means they did something technically right, but it's still not enough to bump it into the 6 range. If I'm in the 6 range, there's been some movies that have had major flaws again, like I said, but there could be some high rewatchability factor for me on that. Not necessarily. When I start getting into the 7s is when I start getting into movies like, okay, I probably watch that again. But there's also been some movies like in the 9 or 8 range that you watch and they're made very well, but the rewatchability factor, I mean, it's not, you know. So for you guys, how do you rate the rewatchability factor? How much does that play a part into your score? If a movie has, let's say if it's like, let me use the example of Justice League. You know, you knew all the technical issues that it had with it, right? You know, they changed directors. You know that, you know, they had a reshoot. You know, it had so many technical things with the production. But let's say when you watched it, it had such a high rewatchability factor for you, even though you know it has those technical flaws. How much higher would you have given it? How much of a range does that bump it up?
A lot for me, to be honest, because I would give that movie based on all those outside things and how bad it was, like technically. Like I could see myself giving that movie an F. And for a movie to get an F has to also annoy the fuck out of me a little bit, like Bird Box. That might get an F. I got to think about it. But I also like Ben Affleck and all those people, and I enjoyed them in it. And there was a lot of parts to the movie that I liked. So like my initial grade for that movie, I probably would have been like a B. You know, like it was cool. I liked it.
You gave Justice League a B?
Yeah, a B. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. I wasn't thinking about all that other stuff though. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking about Joss Whedon. I wasn't thinking about how bad some of these things were. Like I was just like, there's fucking Batman. There's fucking Wonder Woman. There's the Flash. They're entertaining. I like them, and I did watch it a few times, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's tough to say how much I weigh rewatchability. So if I find the movie is really good, especially if it's, I would rate it within that 8 to 10 range, I want to rewatch it anyway because it's good. But I don't see myself just sitting there and be like, okay, what's the rewatchability level of this? I got to pump it up a couple points or things like that. It's just more like if it's good, I'm gonna want to rewatch it anyway.
Yeah.
But I do find sometimes rewatching movies, my rating can fluctuate on repeat viewings. It can go down
Oh
or it
yeah.
can go up. So that does happen often.
Yeah.
If
I
if I were
usually
using, oh sorry Dan, just real quick, if I were using your numbers, I would give Justice League like a 6.
but
That's just
that's a
how it
B
transfers.
plus. That's a B to you.
A B. It's a B to me, yeah. But a 6, but it changes. It varies. Like just like Jose said, like it's not going to be exact. It's not like two movies that I grade a B aren't going to be. They're off a different grading system. It's all subjective. You know what I mean? I don't have a fucking list of like it has to meet these fucking criteria to get. It's just how I feel about it. Like that's how I feel. You know.
Yeah.
So go
So
ahead.
like
Sorry.
okay, so I'll say with like the rewatchability factor. So I'll use the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think I gave like a solid 9.5. Loved the movie. It was amazing. It had such a high rewatchability factor for me that that's why I give it a 9.5 when maybe the movie might be more like a 9, maybe an 8.5. You know what I mean? But I gave it such a 9.5 because the villain himself, Ronan, uh, he was okay, but the villain wasn't that good. And normally, when I would watch a movie, the villain is a huge part of whether a movie's good or not. You have to have a really formidable opponent. Their enemy wasn't that, he wasn't that great, but the movie has such a high rewatchability. The soundtrack is amazing. There's the acting, the characters, like everything went so well for the movie that I was able to overcompensate that, but I can't give it a 10.0 because it wasn't perfect because the villain wasn't great. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I gave that movie an A. It wasn't an A plus. It's just the
because the
main reason
villain,
was because of Ronan. Yeah,
because of Ronan,
like if they
exactly.
had like Killmonger and that
Dude,
was the villain,
Killmonger would have been
it
amazing,
would have been
man.
an A plus plus.
Yes, man. Exactly. So I agree with you. A lot of things kind of change or fluctuate with that
Mhm.
stuff. But if I put something in the 9 range, it means for me a lot of technical things had to have gone really well. I can't overlook a lot of technical things. If it might have had issues, let's say with like editing, pacing, story, like if the third act kind of dropped the ball, I can't give it in the 9 range, even if it has a really high rewatchability factor where I love going back to watching it. I have to admit, okay, it's maybe in the 8 range or the 7 range, but that's okay. I could still enjoy and like movies that I put there.
Speaking of that, since you are touching on it, besides just how we rate, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's good for our audience to understand uh, what is weighted the highest in our ratings. What do you put the most stock in? What aspects of a movie affects your rating the most? Because that can also differ between
Mm-hmm.
individuals.
Absolutely.
For example, our friend Anton, his main thing is visuals.
Yeah.
So visuals has the highest weight in his rating system. So if the visuals are
Yep.
amazing, that movie is going to get a lot of points, even if it's suffering in other parts. So for you guys,
Mm-hmm.
what things are weighted higher than others?
Yeah, and I will say this. So Anton is a visual effects artist. So that's why it makes so much sense that he looks at things visually, but he uses the same number system we have, which is 1 through 10. But his system is completely flawed, as we've always talked about, because he says any completed movie is at least a 7. So that to me calls, well, then your number system is bullshit because 1 through 6 never exists. It's a 1 through 3. That's essentially all you're dealing with is a 1 through 3 system. So just say 1 through 3 at that point. Otherwise, if you say something 7, it's just like you're grading on a curve. So it's bullshit. For me, I'm the strongest thing I always put stuff into is story because I'm a writer first. That was the very first thing I started doing when I started doing filmmaking. I'm a writer. So I always look at story if it's proper timing. I can look past some kind of cheesy acting if the writing and the characters are written very well. If it has really good dialogue, I can kind of overlook choppy editing again if the story's there. But if the story's bad, if there's a lot of plot holes, I cannot get past that. And I cannot give a movie in the 9 range if the story sucks. I can't.
I think for me, I just want to be entertained. Like that's the main thing. And all those things fall into it. Like if something's like visually appealing, I'm entertained by that. If it has a great story, I'm entertained by that. You know, I can look past like some of the technical things, you know, some bad acting, some poor CGI, whatever, as long as I'm entertained. You know, sometimes the CGI is so bad or something's really bad, it'll take me out of it. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and it might take me out of it. But there are times I could be taken out of it, but I'm still entertained. I'm laughing. I'm watching it with somebody or fucking laughing, whatever. Like, as long as I'm entertained, it's gonna get the grade will be like that's like the foundation for like my grading, which is why like you're like Justice League, what the fuck? It's like I was entertained, dude. Do I think it's a great movie? Like, no. Am I gonna go recommend it to her? No, I'm not. Like, I was entertained by it, you know, and I liked it and I saw it a few times and I was like, cool, B.
Okay, how about you, Jose?
Me, it's kind of a mix of like what both of you guys said. Like I said, if I had to give like the top kind of 3 things that I look at.
No,
so
you can only do one. You said one. You gave
I
us
didn't say
one.
I did not say one. I said what do you guys weigh the most?
And that's the most. We can only give you the most.
What's the most? What's the one thing that is the most for you?
Yeah.
The one it would have to be the highest. It would have to be it's tough. It would be the acting.
See, I knew it because you're an actor. That's why it makes sense.
Really bad acting or unnatural acting can pull me completely out of
and it ruins a script.
So that is weighted the most, but you know, there's a couple other things that are close in the weighing of it. You know, like the writing and the writing / story, kind of like what you were saying. Then that can also pull me out if there's very little things here and there I can forgive, but there's very glaring plot holes or things that just don't make sense. But I think the other one that's very important to me is reaction. Like emotionally, what did it pull out of me? Did it get me angry? Off of the story, not angry because it's a shitty movie. Did the story like bring out anger? Did it bring out like sadness? Did it get a reaction out of me? Did it bring out fun? Like Chuck was, you know, saying with his, like, did it induce some kind of emotional response for me? That also goes into like my rating.
Yeah. Cool. So let's test out this theory then, right? So we have an auto movie generator. So let me generate some movies and we'll give it a random score. You guys ready?
All right.
Very quick, very easy, something we've seen. How about this one? Lego, the Batman movie.
B+.
Okay. How about you, Jose?
That one I'm about an 8.5.
That's literally what my score is too. It's about an 8.5. And the reason why I say this, why is it not higher? Like, it's made very well. It's very clever on the way that they wrote the story. Very clever. The actors did very good for the roles. Everything's good about it. It's just the reason why I don't go higher is just
Wouldn't watch
I don't
it
know.
again.
Huh?
Because you wouldn't watch it again?
Kind of, yeah. Like, it just the rewatchability factor is not that high. So to me, that's usually like a 1 point swing. So already I'm going from 10 to 9. And then it, you know, it's just so if it had a high rewatchability, would have been a perfect movie. No, it still was missing a few things. So, you know, the stakes could have been a little higher, things like that. And I just typically like a little more violent movies anyways. Shocker. So,
Shocker, Mexican. Yeah.
Okay. Hear about this one. Children of Men. Ooh, that's a good one. Children of Men. Starring Clive Owen.
A+.
A+. Okay. How about you? Okay. Why? Perfect movie. Just no flaws whatsoever.
It's perfect. The acting's great. The storytelling's great. The cinematography's great. The action sequences are great. And it's rewatchable. I've seen it at least 6 or 7 times. And when I watch it, it's still fucking good and engaging. And it's highly entertaining. And it's just a great fucking movie. And it has Clive Owen.
Yeah.
Similar, obviously.
Nope. Yeah. How about you, Jose?
I was actually at the same point at an 8.5 with that one. I did enjoy it. And like Chuck said, great acting, good story, very intriguing. I've actually never watched it after the first time.
Okay. So I give it about a 9.5. I think it's phenomenal. It I've seen it twice, I think, total. The reason why I don't give it a 10 is because of the rewatchability factor. It is there, but it's such a heavy movie that it's one that's not so like I can still, that's why I don't give it a full point of it has no rewatchability factor. It still does because it's a great movie. It's just such a heavy topic. It's something that like, let me just pop it in on a Saturday and just, drink to it while I'm watching. Let me just go ahead and get high while I'm watching this movie. It's not one of those movies. It's one of those ones where like, man, I'm in the mood for like a deep movie. Then I'll pop it in. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I am.
Oh, and a recommendation level. That is like in the top 3 for me. Like for me to tell somebody, you have to watch this movie. It's so fucking good. Like that's part of like my grading system.
But you never recommend anything.
Everybody watch Children of Men. It's so fucking good.
Children of Men. Okay, I'm going through these movies and there's like a lot of shitty ones in here. Like 50 First Dates. Like, I don't fucking care.
11.
11. Okay, let's do 50 First Dates. Let's do 50 First Dates. What would you guys give it? I'd probably give that one like a 6.5, maybe. Like it had a couple of funny moments, but like I didn't care about the story. That doesn't have a high rewatchability factor for me. Adam Sandler, I mean, he's been good in some films, and there's a lot of bad Adam Sandler films, and this is one of those ones that's not terrible, but it's not his Netflix run. You know what I'm talking about? He had those like a bunch of like a run of Netflix movies that was just so bad. It's not that bad. Drew Barrymore, it had Sean Astin.
Sean Astin, dude, he's so good in that.
He is, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Dude. There's some good moments to this movie. He's really good in it. The rest, everybody else is like.
No, the other dude's good in it. Deuce Bigelow.
Yeah, he's okay in it. Yeah. So, what's your guys' score? I gave it a 6.5.
So for that one, I actually
love it.
Would give it an 8.
Okay.
See, I gave it a B. Like,
here's the thing. This is something that I didn't mention earlier. Is genre matters to me in the rating.
It does.
Certain types of movie will be weighted differently because of the expectations I have of that movie going in.
Okay.
Compared to rom-coms that I've seen and enjoyed, I give that an 8.
So here's why I still give it the score that I have, but I still go genre based. How about 500 Days of Summer? It's a rom-com. I give that one a way higher score because to me, it's technically made so much better. It's a way better story and the plot line's more realistic to me. This one is just ridiculous. I understand it's supposed to be ridiculous, but she has amnesia. It's just, I don't care. I just didn't really care about it too much. But like, what would you guys rank 500 Days of Summer?
It's a 9.
At the time, I probably gave it an A. I think over time, it kind of went down a little bit because I kind of just got, being the contrarian that I am, I got tired of people telling me how fucking awesome it was. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I saw it before you did.
You were there first.
I was there. I've seen it before you did.
Chuck's a hipster.
Yeah. Oh, he is. He's absolutely a hipster, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually used to have a Prius a long time ago. Anyways, go ahead. Next one.
Okay. So here's one that I see is next Friday, not the first Friday, next Friday. What would you guys rank that one?
D.
How about
D for disrespect for the first one?
Yes, but still, that's just so D, and you never go back and you never watch the movie again.
I've seen it maybe twice because I had to a second time. There's some funny stuff in there, like for sure. There's some funny stuff in there, but Friday is such a fucking classic, and that one just kind of did it dirty.
Okay. So, how about you, Jose?
Yeah, that one I was closer to about a 6, maybe 5.5.
That's where I'm at. I probably give it a 6 because even though it's so bad versus the original, I view it as an entirely different movie because even Ice Cube's character, Craig, is not even the same interpretation of the character. It feels so different. But Day is so good in this movie I like him in it. He's good, but the rest of the movie, it's not made well. It's very bad. But then you got the whole Latino guys in it. Like, get him, Chico. Like, there's funny moments in it.
Animal cruelty.
That's what I'm saying. So a movie like that, and that's a perfect example, is the score is not good, but it has a higher rewatchability factor for me. If it's that type of mood, if I'm with the right crowd of people, we're drinking, we're hanging out, we want something just playing in the background, I don't mind playing that one. So even though Children of Men is a way better movie, I've seen Next Friday more, just because I don't need to pay attention to it. It's not so heavy and weighty. You see what I'm saying? But the score's still low. That's what I'm saying. I can still rank a movie low, but still have fun watching it. Here's one. Okay, this is the end.
Probably an A.
Okay.
Maybe an A minus. Because I've the first few times I watched it, it was still pretty awesome, and then I find myself fast forwarding and some parts, so probably an A minus, like overall, yeah.
How about you, Jose?
It's kind of like Chuck. When I started off, I was probably about like an 8.5, and then saw it a few times after that, and it kind of dropped more to like 7.5, 8-ish.
Yeah, I'm the same. I started off at 8.5. It was really funny. I thought it was really clever. I thought the third act is where it started really falling off for me. When I rewatch it now, I'm like, man, other than like a few funny jokes, I'm probably more at a 7 now. It's the rewatchability factor really fell off for me. It's just it doesn't hold as much anymore. Now it just feels like a bunch of friends just hanging out, making jokes, and that's what I'm watching.
You know what I mean? Isn't that's what we're doing? Hey.
Exactly. Which is why our podcast is probably like a 7. I'm kidding, people. Give us a 5-star rating. Give us a 5 score. I kid. Okay, we're gonna do one more before we give our cue. I'm trying to go through all these. I'm trying to give us a good one here. I'm seeing a bunch. I've never even.
How about real quick?
Okay.
If you have 3 of them, if not, if you have 1 or 2, but a 10, like what are 10s to you guys?
Okay, so I'll give one. So, Avengers, Infinity War. Infinity War to me was a 10. I thought they did it so good. Endgame wasn't. That wasn't a perfect movie to me. It was more like a 9.5. Maybe even a 9, just because I felt like the stakes weren't as high and all that stuff until the very, very end. Where the plot line, and that's where the storyline is just, no spoilers here, but just them having to go back and kind of doing like the time bandit thing. In part 1, it felt like the stakes were way higher. You had all the characters in it. Everybody had a fight. If you saw people dying immediately, people that we watched and knew, the stakes felt a lot higher. So that's why to me, that's a 10 because of the genre. Like we said, the genre that it's in for a superhero movie, to me, it was brilliant. I couldn't have done a better movie than that.
Yeah.
Sticking it, because I do agree with Infinity War, but I don't want to repeat, but I'll stick with the same genre. Logan was a 10 for me. I felt that was just, forget superhero movie, just a great movie, and it hit all the points for me.
Yep. Which is sort of what Dark Knight did for me too. It elevated beyond being just a superhero movie. Like, nope, this is a phenomenal film. So yeah, I agree. I give Logan a 10.
Yeah, I can't stick with the same genre because it's funny. If someone were to tell me, "Hey, what movie should I watch? I've never watched movies before. What should I watch?" To me,
you're gonna pick
that
a horror
movie. No, what'd you say?
No. I said you're gonna pick a horror movie.
I'm like, it's Baby Boy. Not just kidding. Although that's a close second. The Shawshank Redemption. Like to me, that's just a perfect movie. Like
arguably the greatest movie ever made. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like, watch it, watch that. Like, so that's definitely an A+ for me, A++, because I do that too. So
should also be Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, but okay. So, anyways, guys, how about Terminator 2? Oh, Terminator 2, rank it.
A+, dude.
10, baby. 10.
It's an A+.
That's a 10.
I just only fought you on it because of how like condescending and cavalier you were about it, where you're just like, oh, Terminator 2, greatest action movie of every time. That's it. I don't want to talk about it. That's it. And I'm like, motherfucker, like,
First of
You're
all, I was
probably
saying that to
right.
Kevin because it's an inside joke that we have. So that's why we both like, oh, that's it. And you took it as way personal. And I was like, dude, it has
that's
nothing to
it.
do with you.
I really did. I was like, let's fight. You're like, dude, I'm chilling. And I'm like, oh, my bad.
That's what I said.
My
So I was like, man, it has nothing to do with you. So
bad.
I was like, chill, motherfucker.
But you made me like have to talk
Wanna
shit
fight it.
about it, you know, even though I'm like, I don't want to do this. I love this movie.
It was Rosemary's
Like-
Baby. I Rosemary Baby to you.
We did promise our listeners that we were gonna come to a decision regarding the horror movie collection and what's gonna be the outcome of that. So we should
Yep.
probably touch on that.
Yeah.
Seems like some suggestions are kind of agreed with what we discussed on the air last week. So I think we're gonna do a combination, right? Of
Yep.
the winner is gonna get to pick the costume of the losers for Halloween. And it has to be related to the 100 movies that were on there.
Okay. I don't think it necessarily has to be Halloween, but I like the idea of recreating scenes. So we can do it at any point, right? Because I mean,
Okay.
if we, right? Because that would we can end up doing like September or something like that, or I don't know.
Okay,
July.
yeah, no, that's fine. The only reason I say Halloween is because that was the original deadline.
Yeah.
But
that's
perfectly
all
fine.
he's saying, Dan. He's just saying because that's what we said. We got to finish by Halloween. That's all
No, he
he's
said-
saying,
He
dude.
said we have to dress up as Halloween. Right?
No, that's
I thought
all
he said we
he's
had to
saying,
dress
bro.
up as
Relax.
Halloween costume.
Dude, just,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get weird about it.
You want to fight me, Charles? Let's go, punk. Get him, Chico.
Dude.
Get him.
Animal cruelty.
I'm giving you a score of 1.0 for this episode, Charles.
You're getting an F++, which is actually worse than an F-, just so you know.
Damn.
It's like just S
Damn.
or Fs.
It's like inverted. Huh? It's like the upside
Yes.
down. We start going negative. Yeah. Anyways,
Go
all
ahead,
right,
Jose.
guys.
No, but yeah, so we're gonna has to pick the costumes, and the losers will have to recreate a scene solo for our Instagram, and then they will also have to appear in one of our episodes in character.
Mm-hmm.
That sound about right, gentlemen?
Yep. Let's do it. Are we going to reveal? Are we going to say what our progress is right now? How many we have, or should we just save it till the end?
No, just say that.
No, just
Okay.
save it. I
Just
can't
save
even
Let's
keep
do it.
track anymore.
I'm gonna block. Look. I gotta block my poster because I see
Yeah.
Chuck trying. You can see it over my head. That's why I had to put my guitar over it so you guys can't cheat. Oh, he's got one in the corner.
What's that? That has to be The Conjuring. That's The Conjuring.
Yeah, I saw The Conjuring. Dude, Conjuring is so good, man. I love The
Yeah.
Conjuring. All right. So what is on the queue? You guys got to give us a 10.0 movie. It's your opinion, 10.0, any genre. Not
Out of sight.
you guys want to think about it? I'll go first.
No, I'm
Yeah,
good. Out
I
of
already
sight.
gave my 10.0, Logan.
Yeah, but give us
much
another
lower?
10.0. Give us another 10.0. Okay, so I'll go first. I'm gonna go horror. I'm gonna go The Shining. To me, that's a 10.0 horror movie. Love it. Kubrick, awesome, phenomenal director, awesome acting, great character. The way it was technically made, phenomenal. Fight me, Charles.
No, I won't. I mean, it's kind of boring and overrated, but
No, it's not.
an A+, yeah, it is.
You're
An
boring and
A+,
overrated.
An A+ horror movie.
I don't know.
Stupid you are.
We just throw shit. We just throw darts trying to burn each other and hope one of them sticks. Usually they don't, and we just laugh like that's stupid.
An American Werewolf in London. To me, that's an A+ horror movie. So it's an
Good.
American Werewolf in London. That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
It's an American one in London. It's not good enough that it's a British one in London. It
Yeah.
has to be an American one in
or an
London.
American one in America or a British in America. No, it's an American werewolf in London.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go different. I'm not gonna go movie. I'm gonna go 10.0 TV show
Okay.
and
Kingdom.
Breaking Bad.
Ooh,
Oh.
yes. Breaking Bad
Nice.
10.0. Charles, there you go again, Chuck.
Gave
Ready to
up on
give
the
us that
second
it's
season.
overrated. Oh
And
my god.
overrated. You know what? It doesn't even. Like when you fuck up so bad in a class, you don't even get a grade. You get an incomplete. That's
Shut
what Breaking Bad gets because I didn't even finish season 2. Boom.
up.
I'd rather
This
watch Malcolm
guy.
in the Middle.
This
It
guy.
seems like a you problem.
Malcolm in the middle. Out of here. All right, guys. So what would you guys rate this episode so far that we just recorded? There you go. Here's our
How,
ranking
how
system.
many buttholes is this episode?
How many buttholes does this episode give it? I give it about 4.5 buttholes.
I give it 4.2 buttholes.
Yeah. How about you, Jose?
We'll go 4.2.1 buttholes.
Yeah. You know why? Because we lost some points because of Charles' last remark about Breaking Bad. Bye, guys.